My fingers trembled as I stared at the note. The ink smeared slightly from where the rain had dampened the paper. Ryan took it from my hand and read it twice, his jaw tightening with each second. The firelight danced in his eyes, but it couldn't burn away the fury building there. "We're not leaving," he said firmly. "Not like this." I felt the fight inside him, the pull to reclaim the power his father had always taken from him. But I also felt fear bubbling in my chest, like a scream I couldn't let out. It wasn't just about what we'd done anymore. It was about control. Someone wanted to remind us who held the strings. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out, only to see a single message from an unknown number. "You looked beautiful tonight, just like last year." I gasped and showed Ryan. His fingers curled into fists. He's here, watching. The realization sent chills through me. Someone had been close enough to see us on the floor, to know what we'd said, how we'd touched. Ryan walked to the back door, throwing it open and stepping out into the storm. I followed, heart thudding in my chest. The yard was soaked. The dock looked like a black arrow pointing into the lake center. Trees rustled in the wind, and the faint scent of cigarette smoke lingered in the air. Ryan turned slowly, scanning the woods. His breath came out in heavy clouds. "He's playing with us," he said. "Why now?" I asked again. "Why wait a year?" "Because you came back. Because maybe he never really left." We checked every window, locked every door again. Ryan went into the shed and came back with an old hunting rifle his grandfather had kept stored away. It hadn't been used in years, but just the sight of it made me feel slightly less helpless. As the rain eased into a steady drizzle, we moved back inside. I took off my soaked sweater and threw it over the chair. Ryan lit another fire, and I sat close to it, trying to chase the chill from my bones. He crouched beside me and gently placed a hand on my shoulder. "I'm not going to let him touch you," he said. His words were steady, but there was something else in his eyes, pain, guilt, longing. He hadn't forgiven himself for what happened between us, no matter how much time had passed. "You're not responsible for what he does," I said quietly. He shook his head. I knew what he was capable of. I just didn't want to see it. The clock ticked past 2 a.m. The storm had weakened into a misty drizzle. Outside, the lake was still again. It almost looked peaceful, but I didn't trust that stillness anymore. We stayed up most of the night, dozing in shifts. At one point, I woke with my head on Ryan's chest, his heartbeat a slow and steady rhythm beneath my cheek. It felt wrong and right at the same time, like an apology and a promise. Morning light crept through the windows around 6. I stretched, feeling every inch of exhaustion behind my eyes. Ryan stood by the kitchen counter pouring coffee, the sleeves of his flannel rolled up, eyes darker than usual. "We have to go see him," he said without looking at me. I blinked. "What?" "My dad. If it's him behind this, he needs to say it to my face." The thought made my stomach turn, but I nodded. Maybe confrontation was the only way to end it. We left just before 8. His father lived 20 minutes away now, in a secluded one-story house on the edge of Hollow Creek. I remembered it well. I remembered sitting in the passenger seat of that car after dinner parties, watching Daniel Carter drink himself numb while Ryan drove me home. Always the protector. When we pulled into the driveway, the house looked abandoned. The grass was overgrown, curtains drawn tight. No car. Ryan knocked on the door. Nothing. He tried again, louder this time. Still no answer. We circled around the back. That's when we saw it. The door was ajar, barely noticeable, but enough to send ice down my spine. He pushed it open, and we stepped into a quiet that didn't feel natural. The air was stale, like no one had opened a window in weeks. The living room was undisturbed, nothing out of place, but something about it felt staged. Then we heard it, a faint click behind us. We turned. A red laser that flickered on the wall for a second before vanishing. Ryan shoved me down just as the front window exploded inward. Glass shattered. Something whizzed past my ear and buried itself in the back wall. A warning shot. "Get down!" Ryan yelled, pulling me into the hallway. We crawled along the edge of the baseboard, hearts hammering. Ryan still had the pistol we'd brought from the lake house. He handed it to me, but my hands shook too badly to hold it. The shooting stopped. We waited in silence, breaths shallow, ears straining for footsteps. Nothing. Finally, Ryan peeked around the corner, then motioned for me to follow. We bolted back to the car. No one chased us. No shadow appeared in the rearview mirror. But I knew we weren't safe. He wasn't done. We returned to the lake house, shaken, silent. I sat at the edge of the bed and stared out the window, watching the water. My hands still trembled. Ryan sat beside me, careful not to speak. When I finally turned to him, the words came out broken. He was going to kill us. Ryan didn't flinch. I think he still might.